Grayzone's GoFundMe was targeted. They've been recently trying to raise money so they can bring on a few more reporters. I know Wyatt Reed was going to be one of them. Let's let friend of the show, Nico House, sum it up, and then we'll get some more details here.
Raise over $90,000 for their investigative work. GoFundMe cited external concerns as to why they ultimately chose to freeze the Grayzone's fundraiser. Now, personally, I'm not a betting man, but if I was, I would be willing to bet that those external concerns rhyme with CIA, especially considering that this isn't even the first time that Grayzone's team members have been heckled by big tech and government entities for their investigative reporting. For example, upon entering London, Kate Clarenberg was interrogated for 5 hours by counterterrorism police about the Grayzone. Then there was a time that the managing editor of the Grayzone reported on Ukraine targeting civilians in the Donbass region, and as a reward for his stellar investigative journalism, PayPal and Venmo permanently deactivated his accounts without any real explanation as to why. As most of you probably know, this isn't even the first time that GoFundMe is engaged in these antics. We can look at what they did to Mint Press, or the time that they took millions of dollars from the truckers that were striking in Canada and just decided they were going to keep the money. GoFundMe is simply proving once again that it is just another establishment, big tech asset who is tasked with censoring anyone who dared to tell the truth about the empire.
And this is the critique, JB, that a lot of people who believe in the Great Reset, the fear, and not people who don't, digitizing where we only have digital money. This is what they can do. They can just say, "Oh, we don't like what you did. We're yanking that away," and that is a tool that an empire like the United States will, in my opinion, will not hesitate to use on its own people that's just trying to gain freedom and liberation. So, it is what it is. But let's go to a couple of other receipts. Had you heard about this story before today, JB?
Yeah, I heard about it a couple of days ago. Shout out to the Grayzone. I've had Wyatt Reed on before. I'm trying to reach out to Max Blumenthal, Aaron Mate, and others that are part of the Grayzone as well to have them on my channel too. But what's going on with them? And as full disclosure, I have a GoFundMe just to help me out with my expenses because I received disability, and disability is just not enough for me to survive on with my mom.
Of course not. Yes.
But the problem is that this is no different than what we saw in the Twitter files, right? Where you have government overreach that are suspending and stopping people who are actually talking and reporting on what the empire is actually doing. So this is the same thing. The only difference is this is one's taking our voice away, which is the Twitter files. One's interfering with our livelihood and our ability to survive. Because outside of PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, GoFundMe, like what else is there? There's maybe smaller ones, maybe like Gifts and Go.
Yeah,
things like
small
that.
ones.
But these are a lot more lesser known. So people don't really know or even trust them enough to give through those platforms, which also diminishes the amount of support that a network like Grayzone or an outlet like Grayzone or RBN, because we also have a GoFundMe, it diminishes the amount that we can actually get. This is one of the reasons why I was kind of hesitant in making a GoFundMe for my chapter.
Yeah, I feel the same.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, what if, we raised this amount of money and then next thing you know, they're like, oh, we don't like what you guys are doing at RBN, so we're just going to suspend it. So then the plans that we have to help the people in the community, it goes up in smoke.
Just goes on.
Yep.
Man. We'll hear directly from the man himself, and that is Max Blumenthal here in this little snippet, and let him get the last word, and we'll move to the next segment. Let's listen to what he says happened in the chronological order. It's only a 3-minute video, but we'll listen to all of it.
GoFundMe has informed me, they informed me like 9 days ago that due to some external concerns, they have frozen the funds. And I published that full email from someone named Sabrina, I don't even know her full name, at GoFundMe's ironically named Trust and Safety Team, telling me that they had frozen the funds and that they need to investigate further. And I haven't heard anything since. I've sent several requests for, due process, for more information, or to just simply release the funds, and I haven't heard anything back. So today we've decided we have to pull the plug on this GoFundMe fundraiser that was so important to building the future of our independent outlet, and which was obviously important to so many other people. I mean, the encouraging, effusively supportive messages we've been getting just keep rolling in.
So this to me makes Grayzones feel a lot more legitimate. If the CIA, if the powers that be are trying to not have Grayzone add more reporters so they can continue to do these anti-imperialist sort of reporting that they do, that's good for imperialists. So this to me gives the Grayzone more validity, because I don't see them going after Jacobin in this way. I don't see them, going after the lever in this way, but they're going after the Grayzone because specifically of their international and foreign policy reporting. So yeah, it's sort of like street cred, gives them more street cred.
And GoFundMe has proven to be exactly what people said it was, which is a tool of Western intelligence agencies and the censorship industrial complex that has been censoring social media. They have put financial sanctions on us because we have disrupted the official narrative around the Ukraine war and so many other of the national security state's psychological operations. That's what this is about. Those are the external concerns. I'm never going to get the information on who they are, but we know who they are. They're the same people that detained and interrogated Kit Clarenberg, who we are fundraising for at Luton International Airport in London, over his work for the Grayzone. The British counter-terror police interrogated him about his work for us, his factual journalism for us. No one has ever discounted a single thing he's reported. They're the same people who cut our new managing editor, Wyatt Reed, who we're fundraising for, off from Venmo and PayPal without any explanation after he went to Donbass and showed on video the Ukrainian military shelling civilian targets and abusing people's human rights. They're the same people who canceled me and Aaron Mate when we went to talk about our work at the Grayzone at Web Summit in Portugal, the biggest gathering of the tech industry. Those people were the Zelenskys. Vladimir Zelensky and his wife personally demanded that they cut us off there so they could broker weapons deals with different tech companies. So that's who we're up against. That's who GoFundMe answers to. And we are asking everyone to demand a refund. We're going to work on getting everyone's money refunded. And we've moved our fundraiser to Spot Fund. You can find out about that on thegrayzone.com, on my Twitter account, on the Grayzone's Twitter account. Their co-founder has promised us speedy transfer of funds and that they're not going to kick us off because of outside interference. But what we're looking at here is part of a much bigger picture where the Western regime that is sanctioning 1/3 of the world's population is now sanctioning its own citizens.
Sanctioning its own citizens, which is quite disturbing. And I mean, it's not surprising at all that this is happening to the Grayzone. It's not surprising. You see what happened to Roger Waters, and Roger Waters was a major donor. We did a story and a segment on that. I think one of his donations was like 30 grand. That was the last segment we did on that. And they don't like Roger Waters too. You see the anti-Semitic trope campaign that's going against him. So these powers that be, they don't play with their narratives. They don't play at all, JB, especially with their war narrative. If you're talking against their war narrative, because that is their biggest money maker, they're not playing around at all.
We just need to remain vigilant in telling the truth. And whenever you see outlets that are in independent media, this is why your financial support is so important. So, for instance, if you have like a Grayzone, or if you have a Heartlands Media, or if you have like a Due Dissidence or RBN, those of us who are trying to do it the best that we can in independent media, or including the Indie News Network and ones like those, make sure that, to support them if you can, especially through works like Patreon, Coffee, or other different platforms, because the thing is that what they're trying to do is they're trying to starve us out. And also, did you guys like the stream? Because that pushes us out in the algorithm. Same thing. If you go into Grayzone, you go on to their channel, then make sure to like the stream. That pushes them out into the algorithm. Make a comment if on something that you found relevant within the conversation that we're talking about. So that's how you do it. And share with your family and friends, because a lot of times they may not know the facts that are being put out by outlets like the Grayzone. So make sure to do that as well.